What's up, everybody, and welcome to my collection commentary on the Rike knife 1507. This knife's pretty cool. I like it a lot. I don't know how much I like it at the $300 mark. That said, I have offered it up in a couple of trades, so I thought it would be best to get it on the record now while I still have it in my possession. If I do keep it, I will send it out for anodization because I do like to have knives with color. I'm not a huge fan of the plain tie variant. And I will say real quick before I jump in here that I have decided after posting the video on the Wii 604 that I don't really want to be considered a reviewer. I just want to talk about the knives in my collection and knives that other people have and what I think about them. So yes, I'm going to have some bias and all of that, but that's kind of what I'm looking to do here, is just to have fun and chat about knives. So jumping back in, the Rike as a brand is very similar to Wii. They come out of China. They're a production knife company predominantly, and their website looks very similar. All of the information on their website is clearly translated from Chinese by Google Translator or something like that. So they are definitely super Chinese based, and a lot of the pictures that they have on their website are very similar to the pictures that we see on Wii's website. So I'm assuming that even though they don't say how many employees that they have, I am assuming that Rike runs a very similar operation as Wii, because the pictures look the same, the shop looks the same, the business model seems to be the same. One area that Rike is kind of branching out from what Wii is doing is following a bit more of what Rike is doing, in that Rike seems to be offering some mid-tech options, some semi-custom options, maybe even full custom. I haven't seen any evidence of that, but I also haven't seen evidence against it. But I know that they are offering, high-end, like mid-tech versions with like Damascus steel on the blade and stuff like that. One thing Rike is known for, among other companies, or what really sets them apart, is some of their crazy anodization that has kind of this like pearlescent sheen to it almost. It's going to be really hard to pick it up in the video. I am going to overlay some photographs that I took where I try to kind of capture what I'm talking about. Definitely go like on Blade HQ or something and search around for the versions of the knife, or go to their website, rikeknife.com, and check out the different anodization options that they offer. They're all like really bright and kind of like two-tone in the same place. And so I was curious as to how they achieve that on all of their knives, and I believe I was able to figure it out with this very light texturing that they do on the flat parts of the titanium. And so in these pictures that I overlay, I'm hoping that I'll be able to kind of show you better than I am in this video what exactly I'm talking about. There's very fine texture that you can't even feel, but that gives this a kind of two-color, two-tone sheen as you look at it. It's not just smooth tie. It's not like bead blasted or sanded down to like a perfect finish. There's actually a very thought out, very technical construction or finish going on here that's causing that crazy anodization. So if I do send this out for color, I do expect to be able to get some really cool stuff done because of that. But that is something that really sets this brand apart, is how they get those crazy colors. So let's talk a little bit about the blade. One thing I really like about this blade is its shape. It reminds me a lot in terms of how useful it is to the 940, the Benchmade 940. Now, it's not the same blade shape, obviously, and the 940 does have a bit more of a curve, but it kind of has that similar profile in terms of size, and that nice long straight cutting edge that's kind of ended with a bit of a swoosh. So I definitely like that a lot. I like this knife for food. I don't know about food prep. You can kind of see the blade is itself on the back end very thick. So this isn't going to make like the best slicer. It does slice very well. It's got a nice grind to it, but it's not like it's not going to make super small cuts through anything. So I do like it. Like, I used it in a salad to cut up a salad. It's really great for cutting through food. I just don't know about food prep in the sense of trying to create slices that have equal proportion. But it definitely works really well for EDC tasks. It's got a great blade shape for that. And I do really like this is kind of where my my amateurness and my naivete come into play. It's a bit of a satin, bit of a almost bead blasted finish. I couldn't really tell you what it is, but I do really like it. I particularly like that it hides wear very well. So I definitely feel comfortable taking this knife with me every day and using it, which is great because obviously something like the Wii, it's a little bit more, bright and shiny. The vertical polished satin finish is a little easier to screw up. You can already see that it has some blemishes and stuff like that. Excuse me. So I definitely prefer this finish in terms of getting use out of it. Now, what I don't like about this knife compared to the Wii and some other knives at the $300 price bracket is the action. If I just give light pressure here, you can kind of see it wants to go down in parts. You can certainly feel the friction on both the open and the close, and this thing is not dropping closed at all under its own weight. It is fairly smooth in the sense that it's on ceramic ball bearings, but ball bearings have been done much better than they are done here. So I would say that's my biggest disappointment with this knife at this price point. If I'll try to close it really slowly here, and you'll just see how it likes to jump into different positions. It's not smooth at all. And you can kind of feel that when it opens. You feel the friction. It's fairly smooth. It's not like it's rough, but it's definitely, you can definitely feel it. It's not like glass like the Wii or some of the other knives that are at this level. So that's definitely my least favorite part. Another area that I'm not super happy about is right here. This is a bit of a hot spot when you try to close it. It's just doesn't have a great shape to it. If we kind of look at the profile, you can see that it doesn't extend at all, and there is a bit of a cutaway here, but there's no jimping on it. It doesn't provide you any purchase, and when I first got the knife and unpacked it and I flipped it open and I was kind of looking at it and I was like, this is cool, and then I went to close it and I went, oh, I don't like that at all. So I did get used to it, as we do with our knives. It's not the worst thing anymore now that I've kind of gotten used to feeling out, where I'm supposed to get my thumb. But that is one of my least favorite parts about the knife, is this closing of the lock bar, or this pushing of the lock bar. Doesn't feel very good. It's kind of a hot spot. It's kind of hard to get your finger in there without some practice, and I just don't like it that much. Another thing that's kind of confusing about this knife is that these are not thumb studs, no matter how much you want them to be. And beyond that, so they're actually just a stop on the back end here. But beyond that, this edge right here, let's see if I can get it. So this bottom edge right here, this is sharp. This has not been kind of beveled away at all. This is not comfortable. So even though you can use these to close the knife with, and move the blade around with your thumb, even though you can do that, anytime you move in this direction, this is sharp. This is not comfortable. It does not feel good to do what I'm doing right now at all when I push the knife up. When I bring it down, it's okay. This is smoothed off, but when I push it up, it does not feel comfortable. So this, all in all, was kind of a fail. From a design perspective, as a stop, I do like it. I think it looks really cool. I think it provides a good sound, and so I like the idea behind it. But I gotta say, this is a total fail. They look like thumb studs. They're shaped to look like they could be really cool thumb studs because of this cutaway here, this milling here. That looks cool. You would think you could get your thumb in there, but there's no chance of that happening whatsoever. I have really small hands, and I'm not getting in there. Even if I do both, I can't break the detent, and it honestly just hurts. You can kind of see on my finger there's like a little divot from trying to do that. So I don't like that at all. It looks so cool in the profile. I love the kind of Quaken style. You can tell that's kind of like a theme with knives that I like. But these were there was so much potential here, and all of it was unused. So I'm super bummed about that. And that's another thing that might cause me to let the knife go. I do like the pocket clip. It has not a whole lot of tension. It's pretty soft. Like the Wii knife is a little bit harder. I can't even really do it with my nail without risking something gross. But this one, you can pull on this all day with your nail, and it's fine. It slides in and out of the pocket really well. It almost doesn't have enough tension. I do worry sometimes when I get into a car and the knife is kind of like sitting at, I don't know how to show it with the camera because the camera's at a weird angle, but when it's kind of angled down in my pocket, sitting like this when I'm in a seat so it could fall down like this, I do worry about it. It hasn't happened, but I've kind of felt it like slip out to at least this point where it's the actual clip part and not this empty space. I've kind of had it slip up to where this meets the seam and it holds, but it's a little risky as far as I'm concerned. I do like the backspacer. It's pretty cool. It still has some of that sheen going on. Again, I don't think I'm going to be able to capture that in the video, but it does have the 4 holes milled here, which match the 4 little divots here, and the 3 here. Now, I don't get this. I'm not a knife designer. I don't claim to be an artist, but you've got 4 holes here, 4 holes here, and 3 holes there with room for a 4th. In fact, not just room for a 4th, but even if you space between the end of the pocket clip and where this little jimping pattern is, there's exactly space for a 4th. It almost looks forgotten, and if there were a 4th, it's like this would be equidistant from this. So what? Like, where's the 4th hole? I don't understand. The lack of continuity there, and the fact that it seems like there was almost a plan for a 4th hole that was forgotten. All of them are like that, so that was definitely, they know what they're doing, but that just seems like a total design fail to me. I just don't get that at all. And these little divots, as other people have said in their commentary or their reviews, they're not really jimping. I don't really care what you say. They don't give me any purchase. My finger's sliding just as much as it would with anything else. You feel them, so I'll grant you that it might be like a 5% increase in stability, but that's about it. They're not really useful. The cool thing about Rike knives is that they have this futuristic look. I do love the profile. I love the look of the knife, and I like all of their models. They have, as far as I can tell, they have about 10 models, maybe 11 or 12, maybe 9. They've got like the 1501 or 2 all the way up through the 1508 or 9, and then they have their Thor 1 and 2 models, all of which they're kind of offering in those kind of mid-tech variants, maybe not all of which, but I've definitely seen lots of like crazier Anno and Damascus steel blades and stuff like that. So they have a lot of cool stuff that they're offering. I just really wish that the action had been better on this knife at $300, knowing that this in a non-anodized version only costs $25 less than this in a fully colored version. It just bums me out. Especially because these guys are competitors, and they are competitors. They do have a similar business model. You would think that these knives would be almost exactly the same, at the same price point, the same country of origin, the same materials, the same kind of facility that's producing the knives, and so I just really expected more when I traded for this, and it just wasn't produced. The action, again, is just, it's great, but it's not breathtaking. And at $300, there are knives that cost $80 that have an action as good as this. The action on my Liang Ma CRKT Get Shit Done knife, that thing was like $60 when I bought it. They're like $25 retail now because for some reason the market has crashed on them. It was like an all steel design setup, and that thing had an action on it that was totally on par with what I have here. So I'm just super unsatisfied with that. Really wish they could have done more with the thumb studs. But other than that, I do like the knife. I love the profile. I love the crazy stuff that they can do with the anodization. If I do keep it, I will get it colored. I have a pretty crazy color scheme mock-up already ready to go with 4 different colors, including the clip. So that is definitely a plan, but who knows? I might trade it out for something else. If you're thinking about purchasing this, I recommend that you still get one. I recommend that you pick one up on the secondary market for closer to $200 instead of $300. I think you'll be a lot more satisfied. I would have been more. I don't remember how much I paid for this. I traded for it. I traded 2 knives and some cash for this. So, you know, that was kind of my way of justifying it, was that I was trading knives. I don't think I would ever pay $300 for this cash. But if you can pick one up for like $200 or $230 that's in pretty good shape, especially one that's been colored already, and you can really experience what Rike is known for with that, then it's definitely worth picking up and checking out for yourself, because it's got a great EDC profile. The blade is fantastic, and it's just a couple of those little quirks that kind of lower the bar compared to something like the Brother Wii knife. But again, there are Wii knives that are $300 that are also a little bit more lackluster. It just so happens that the 604D is a fantastic knife. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, and let me know what other knives you would like to see in the future, or if you have a knife that you would like to send me so that I can talk about it. And thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.